So here we go, we're going to enter peak earning season this week. We are entering what would be the Super Bowl of the stock market weeks. This is a big one coming up, and to get you ready for the weekend, these are some of the really important things to be looking out for. So just want to make a quick point actually. AMD last week, the Friday, what a day it was, up 7.6%, and even in pre-market, I've not refreshed it, let me refresh it here, up another 2% in pre-market, which means in the last month, AMD stock is up 56%. What a run AMD has been on. Hopefully for some of you guys, your shareholders, and you're having a really fantastic time. I thought this year would be topped off with the returns in Hims and Hers, the SoFi, the Meta, the Shopify returns, but AMD is like I would say a relatively newer position into the portfolio. And when I was buying this stock, really at the start of this year, I really didn't think this would be a stock that kicked on really until like 2026, 2027. But yeah, I mean, it's had a fantastic year. It's bounced a lot more quickly than what I thought it would, which has been absolutely amazing for AMD, and looks like a really good performer for the next kind of couple of years here. So really happy I built this stock up into my second largest position. If AMD carries on the run that it's been on, there's a good chance AMD could actually take over and become my largest position, which would be obviously fantastic if that was to happen. But the reason why it had such a good bounce on Friday, a couple of things happened. So AMD's deal that it had with OpenAI, you might have seen that when this came out. It's now expected that the revenue could generate over 73 billion a year, up from the expected 7.3 billion. That's mega, because if you look at AMD at the moment, their quarterly revenue is like 7 billion. So this deal alone could make 10 times what they make up in one quarter. It's mega amounts of money. Like it's a game changer. So yeah, I've been like actively just taking a little bit of profit off the table with like AMD, but I'm still really, like I said, I'm really holding until a lot of it until like 2026, 2027, because these deals that they're making right now is really where it starts kicking on. Also, as well, Intel reported strong earnings, so people looked at AMD and thought, well, is AMD going to do strong earnings? And IBM's research shows that quantum error connection algorithm runs effectively on AMD chips as well, so another benefit for them. So this is why they had a really good Friday, and some of that has led into today, into the Monday pre-market as well. So that's great to see. Over the weekend, Trump news. He loves the headlines, doesn't he, this guy? So it is expected that the framework of the trade deal before Trump goes across to China has been all agreed. So that was a benefit that the market liked. At the same time, there was, I don't know if you saw it, but basically Canada, I think it was Ontario State, put an advert out using Ronald Reagan in the advert. And yeah, he didn't like it. He slapped a 10% on tariff on Canada because of it. And also, I don't know if you saw this that happened over I think it was last week as well. Trump pardoned the Binance founder, which was absolutely crazy, because obviously he got a ton of things thrown at him because of the bankruptcy of Binance. And we saw the same thing that happened with Trevor Milton. If any of you guys remember him from Nikola, I can't believe like he's letting these guys go scot-free. It's absolutely amazing to me. Not amazing in a good way either, amazing in a bad way. I still think there was a ton of YouTubers as well during that time frame that should have been sent down and had the YouTube channels taken off them because of their promotions they had with these like Binance companies as well, and it never happened. And yet you still see them still running YouTube videos like Meet Kevin and Financial Educations, which is absolutely ridiculous. And now we have the president actually letting these guys go scot-free. Is absolutely bonkers to me. And you know, you just look at it, you just look at him, don't you? And you think, this guy, he just loves the headlines, doesn't he? You know, that's the thing at the moment, isn't it? I've got to say, the Fed as well this week is expected to cut interest rates. I'm really surprised that they're expected to cut interest rates this week. I thought they would be having a pause this time round, but a cut is expected. Listening to the minutes on the last meeting, and we sure they're going to cut. I think people are getting a little bit carried away with the potential of this cut here. I think it's a lot closer than what people are expecting, but we'll see what happens anyway. Anyway, we've got some earnings previews to look at. Before we do, we've got today's sponsor to mention. Investing.com is a website I'm sure you've seen me use plenty of times in my videos for breaking news in the stock market, but they also offer plenty of other fantastic services. One of them is their Pro Picks AI. This is a stock picking service that is using AI to try and identify stocks that can beat the market. You can see here, this is one of their stock picking services, which is the Tech Titans. It has returned 2,722% in the last 12 years, which is an annualized return of 30%. And they also have other types of stock Pro Picks AI if you do like this service, like Top Value Stocks and Best of Buffett, which is more of a Warren Buffett investing style, and there's plenty of other ones as well. You can see here 30% returns a year is not too bad at all, and when you do look at the price of this service, it works out as £7.99, which is so much cheaper than the other stock picking pro services out there like My Wall Street, and also their returns are significantly greater as well. So it's definitely worth something considering. As well as that, you would hope with some of these returns they would pay back the product that you would be paying for as well, which would be fantastic. As well as that, they do also offer another service, which is Warren AI. This is a great market research tool. So if you are wanting to do research on a stock like Adobe, you can type in why is Adobe down and they'll be able to pull up all that information for you. It's a great service where it helps you just find and identify new stocks to be looking at as well. If you do want to join investing.com, there will be a link in the description of the video and also the comment section of the video as well, and it is £7.99 with a discount code which gives you 15% off as well, so do take advantage of that, guys. Thank you for watching, and thank you to investing.com for sponsoring the video. And we'll get a preview of the week earnings coming up. So looking at the UK earnings, there's not actually potentially that much that I'm really interested in. Next, maybe Glencore, maybe I'll have a look at. The big one that I'll be looking at is Zotefoams. They report on the Thursday. Obviously, you guys know I'm a Zotefoams shareholder. Been a good performer for us this year, up 40% year to date with a nice little dividend on top as well. With Zotefoams, there's been actually some really interesting news that's come out. Don't know if you've been following it, but they used to have a recycling business that they were trying to set up. And anyway, the new CEO came in, he ended up canning it and saying like it was costing too much money. Looks like they've spun it off now and they've renamed it Resource, from Resource, where I think it was an S. And basically they were looking for a partner to take on all like the manufacturing side of it basically. And they couldn't find anyone, so they decided to shelve it. Anyway, looks like they've set up again. You can see they've got a LinkedIn page. There was a post about 1 week ago which was titled News. It said, "We are delighted to announce that the development of multi-award winning Resource circular packaging is now continuing as part of a new partnership, which nevertheless retains key members of the original team." So yeah, So it looks like this part of the platform that they totally scrapped looks like it's coming back. It looks like they've got a partner, and it doesn't in detail announce who the partner is, but I'm assuming, because it says here approved by Biffa, maybe Biffa is the partner potentially. But yeah, it's quite a big move because this was supposed to be a big driver of potential growth for them. They decided to scrap it and save money, and now it's come back. Yeah, could be a big deal, could be a big growth driver for them. But what was interesting is this originally was one of the reasons why the stock ended up going up to like a £5.50 stock a few years ago, and then obviously they scrapped it, and that's, you know, all the momentum. Basically, one of the main reasons why I think the stock went down 50%. But financially been doing really well. But now with Resource coming back on top, are we going to see another bump up? But what I was quite surprised about with Zotefoams doing this partnership here is that they've not announced anything like on an RNS, which I'm really surprised by, because when it was something this big, and what was a key driver previously, got a lot of excitement around your stock, I'm surprised they're not like putting an RNS out like, hey, we're relaunching, we've got a partner, we're going with Biffa. I'm really surprised about the lack of communication on it. So we'll see what is announced in the Thursday update, because I feel like potentially that should have already been RNS by then. So that's something to keep an eye out for on Zotefoams when they do come to the earnings on Thursday. Looking at some of the other earnings this week. So we've already had a lot of these on the Monday. On the Monday after the close, maybe Bed Bath & Beyond, Whirlpool, maybe Waste Management at once, to maybe keep an eye out. But Tuesday's when it starts to really start kicking on. So we've got SoFi that are reporting their earnings. What a performer this has been for us this year, up 105% year to date. So yeah, really glad I started buying this one when it was about a $6 stock many years ago now. Well, I say many years ago, only 2.5 years ago, which it only seems like yesterday when we were making videos on SoFi. Looking at the earnings, they actually look pretty tough this time. 29% revenue growth. The EPS looks like a little decent jump here, nearly 50% increase on the EPS side of it. I don't know. These look at the, for quite a while I've looked at SoFi's numbers and I've gone, these look quite easy for them to beat. First time for a while I'm looking at these SoFi numbers and going, they look tough, you know, so we'll see what happens with SoFi. United Health, any of you guys that have been buying that one, I think the ship's starting to just turn a little bit at the moment, so see if the momentum can continue. PayPal reports, so I'm feeling that tomorrow's video will more than likely be around SoFi and PayPal. Looking at PayPal, the stock, I'm sure most of you guys are aware that have been following the YouTube channel for a long time, but I started buying this at like the back end of 2023, 2024, and the stock went up about 45%. I decided to sell my position then. I thought, you know, it's run about half of what I was expecting it to return in the next really 5 years or 2.5 years, I guess, because I wanted 100% return. And I thought, you know what, the financials are a little bit disappointing from where I actually expect them to be, so I'm going to sell it. Since then, the stock has fallen from about a $90 stock back down into the $60 range, so a pretty dramatic fall from when I completely sold the stock. And the last few months, I've been buying back into the stock where it's been basically flat for the last like 2 or 3 months. And I've actually been looking at the earnings and I've been thinking PayPal's been getting better and better earnings for a while. And with PayPal, you've got the company financially going up and yet the share price is staying stagnant. And they've got, you know, major share buybacks going on. They're expected to do around about 5% revenue growth. EPS is expected to stay flat, which I'm really surprised by. I don't know if there's like a one-time charge going on there, and that's the reason why the company's expected to stay flat. I was really surprised by that. But they look pretty beatable numbers from PayPal's point of view. Next quarter, same again. A little bit of a bigger jump on the EPS, but about 4% revenue growth. What's going to be the key is 2026 guidance when we get there in the next quarter as well, because growth is expected to go up to about 6%. And the EPS is still expected to grow about 10%. So if you're growing revenue at 5% and you're growing your EPS at about 10% there. And the thing with PayPal is you're currently trading at basically you're, about 2 months away from closing in at 11 times forward earnings. A company like this would normally be about 20 times earnings, at least the market average. But saying that, the market average nowadays is what, 29 times earnings? So you're looking at that and thinking, you argue the case that PayPal could easily be double the share price from where it is right now. So all that PayPal needs to do, in my opinion, is come in with like just slight beats here, which I think it looks quite achievable looking at these numbers. So we'll see what happens with PayPal. It's probably the one that I'm most actually looking forward to this week, I'll be honest with you. And then we've got Enphase reporting. So I've had Enphase for a while. It's had a bit of a tough year, so I'm actually down a little bit on this one. They've had basically a few things that are out of the control go a little bit wrong for them with the tariff situation and then the energy credits being cut. But same again, I look at Enphase's numbers and the EPS is expected to stay pretty flat. They're only expecting 2% down in revenue at the moment, and you're looking at some of the credit situation and the people buying these things before the credits run out at the end of the year. I'm looking and thinking, that looks very beatable. Next quarter, about flat growth, EPS to go down slightly. I think these numbers look really beatable for Enphase, so we'll see what happens here. Next year is going to be tougher for them because that's when the credits are gone. But they're only expecting about 7% decrease in revenue and only 10% drop in the EPS. And I'm looking at Enphase at the moment, and you've got those interest rates coming out, cuts coming out, so that might cover your credits being lost. And you're looking at 14 forward times earnings, and you're thinking, looks all right here, you know. So that's going to be an interesting one. Enphase always moves a lot during earnings, so we'll see what happens there. UPS, that's a good one to see how the economy's doing. Dr. Horton, DR Horton, Royal Caribbean, Wayfair. Oh my God, I went on Wayfair website the other day. I thought, oh, that looks really good, that. And then I saw the price of whatever it was I was looking at. I was like, oh my God, how are these guys operating at these prices? I guess the thing is that if you sell one of those things, I guess it makes up for 5 sales of like cheap items, I guess, really. But yeah, crazy prices over there. Booking Holdings, Visa reporting, EA reporting, Cheesecake Factory. On the Wednesday, Verizon, Boeing. Boeing's always an interesting one I like to look at. I maybe should have bought that one a while ago, to be fair. Caterpillar, Etsy, they've been a mess at the moment, but yeah, there's got to be a decent company under there where they can turn it around, in my opinion. Meta, this has been a cracking performer for us this year, to be fair. Actually, I thought it was up a bit more. I thought it was about 35% to us, but 23%, it's not too bad. Let's not sniff it. Numbers, look at the numbers here. Still 20%, 21% revenue growth. EPS to still grow by about 10%. The numbers just absolutely look fantastic on Meta. And realistically, what's it at? 24 forward times earnings? It's not bad numbers, is it, for the valuation you do look at Meta from Meta's point of view here. Microsoft are reporting, look, the big dogs. It's the big dog Wednesday, this. Look at that. Meta, Microsoft, Google are reporting. That's going to be really interesting, those three that are moving. Meta's normally quite a volatile one. Microsoft hardly moves nowadays. Google tends to move a fair bit. I would say normally Google tends to go down after earnings, but we'll see what happens there. Chipotle, ServiceNow, Mercado Libre, that's going to be an interesting one. They've had a bit of a pullback recently, and I know the market, I don't think the market liked the last earnings, but they were actually okay in my opinion. Starbucks, I know they've got the new CEO there, but honestly, I look at the valuation, I've not got it up to be fair, but I look at Starbucks right now, and I look at the numbers they're doing, and I know it's Starbucks at the end of the day, but let's have a look here at Starbucks' numbers they're expected to do. So, revenue growth of 3% and EPS to go, wow. EPS is expected to drop by, 30%? That's bad. That's really bad. And you pay 31 forward times earnings for it. It's rich, isn't it? It's rich valuation, that. So anyway, we'll see what happens with Starbucks. Eli Lilly reporting. Roblox, potentially an interesting one. On the Thursday, Amazon. I'd like to buy more Amazon if it can go cheaper. We'll see what happens there. Apple are reporting. Coinbase, Reddit, Western Digital, rocket companies. They used to be really popular and they've fallen down massively at the moment. Cloudflare, Roku's normally a popular one. And then after the close, we've got ExxonMobil, Chevron, AbbVie. So yeah, it looks a busy one overall. So I'm sure you own a company that is going to report earnings this week. I'm probably going to, probably tomorrow I'll probably cover SoFi and PayPal's earnings. Maybe do a bit of United Health if there's something interesting in there. Wednesday, I might cover Enphase if it's interesting. I don't know whether to make a video on a new stock I've been buying or just save it for the stocks I'm buying video, to be honest with you. We'll see on Wednesday. We'll see what happens. Thursday, obviously, we'll probably end up covering Google's earnings, maybe Mercado Libre's earnings, to be fair. And then on Friday, I should have the either the US stocks I'm buying or the UK stocks buying video for you guys. And then on the Patreon, I should cover any... I've just hit my hand on the table really hard there. I don't know if you heard that. But on the Patreon, we should cover any earnings that I don't cover on YouTube, or more of a nerdy video where we go a bit more deeper into them as well. So, should be interesting. Big week. Big week. I always like these weeks. It's busy. It's a lot of work, and that's why I had the weekend off from doing any stock market work this weekend, because I thought the next 2 or 3 weeks is just snowed under doing work. But yeah, looking forward to it. This is the interesting time. It's where you can have big moves. You can have 10-20% drops, and it just creates some opportunity. Hold on, there's suddenly a opportunity appeared in I don't know, Apple stock or Cloudflare stock where 20% drop, is interesting, or you get the opportunities where you look at someone like a paper it's dropped 20% and yet the earnings are good. That's, the best times to be buying. Or you also get the point of view where, you get those really nice beats where, SoFi jumps 20% up on earnings and you're like, whoa, look at that money that's been made in one day, take a little bit of profit off the table. Really nice. So yeah, we'll see what happens. If we have some nice jumps or opportunities created, whichever way, we'll be happy, I'm sure. So thanks for watching, guys. Best of luck for the weekend. See you in a bit.